Hello everyone, this is Satish Kumar. This is my continuation of lesson for self-management in the topic attitude. So I have already given a topic lesson on attitude, in which we learnt about what is attitude and what are the components of attitude and what are the importance. And in this lesson we will learn about the functions of attitude. Okay, and we also learn the how attitudes are formed. Okay, so these two things are very important. In fact, the importance of attitude is because of this function. Okay, we will see one by one. First, what are all the functions served by attitude? See, our attitude is one thing which protects us. Sometimes when our attitude is too much, it will also affect us, but it serves a very important purpose. It helps us to get along with people. Similarly, negatively, it can also uh, stand in way in getting along with people. Okay, so a number of functions are performed by attitude. So we need to know what are the functions served by our attitude. First is it helps us to adapt. Okay, adaptive function or and instrumental adaptive function. See, we all belong to some social group, we all belong to some unit, a school, a college, a workplace, a family, a social unit. We belong to every somewhere, no? And we interact with a number of people here in all these units. And when we are interacting, no, we will adapt with them based on our attitude. Okay, if the group holds an attitude as favorable, we will catch that attitude because we want to be liked by them, we want to be part of that group, so we will naturally have that attitude. So quite frequently what will happen is a favorable attitude will be developed, and unfavorable attitude will be you won't develop. Okay, because if you develop a favorable attitude, you will be liked by the group in which you belong. If you develop an unfavorable attitude, you will be hated and it will not be good for you. So generally this function is served by attitude. We develop attitude which rewards us, and when people punish us for certain attitude, we will try to discard that attitude. Okay, so and this adaptive function, views and opinions and feelings of others we will accept. Okay, this is the first function. Second function is attitude serves as a knowledge. Okay, see, we all form some attitude about a person, about a group, about a product. Okay, this helps us to reduce a lot of function when we dealing with that people, because prior hand we know how they are, who they are, what they are. Based on our previous experience, we form an attitude, and this attitude will say to us whether to how to deal with them. We don't need to practice every time, have to understand them, know them, knowledge, we learn about them. Okay, so this kind of shortcut. See, a human brain, when it is constantly used, it will get too much of tension. So attitude is one thing, reduces the function of our brain. That is, it will help us to behave in certain way when dealing with certain people. Based on your previous experiences, you develop that attitude. Okay, this is a very very important function. You beforehand know, see, if you want to avoid a person, no, you know about that person, you form the attitude and you will avoid that person beforehand. It helps us to reduce so much of tensions. Okay, so the knowledge function is second. Third, it also acts function as a self expressive function. See, we hold certain attitudes that which express our personality, or the group we behave, group we belong, or the unit we are in. Okay. For example, see, in Tamil Nadu, there is this culture called calling ourselves Tamilanda. So this is an attitude. You have an attitude, a positive attitude. Tamilanda அப்படின்னு இப்படி மீசை முறுக்கிறது, பாரதியார் எங்கள் மண்ணுக்காரு. So these are all attitudes which helps us to feel, it gives some sort of self esteem, right? Certain attitudes will give you some self esteem. That is why we have certain attitude, even when that attitude may not be good, but it will give us some self esteem. Okay. So it is a part of ourself. It helps us to express ourselves. This attitude is will be your personality traits. Okay. That person, he has these kind of attitudes. It will be your character based on number of attitudes. Okay. So it helps us to represent you. Okay. Then fourth, this is a very, very important function. As I said earlier, our attitude protects us, okay, from multiple threats. That is called ego defense mechanism. Okay. Our attitude act as a ego defense mechanism. Okay. See, we hold attitudes that will protect us when our self-esteem do not get harm. Okay. And to justify our actions so that we may not feel guilty. Okay. I will tell you this by examples. See, in this mechanism, people use psychological function called defense mechanism, that is given by Freud in his theory. Defense mechanism is nothing but people try to protect themselves by giving up with new other explanations. Okay. For example, see, we all know that smoking is bad to our health, and too much of smoking will lead to cancer. Okay. But still we smoke. Okay. We smoke. I don't smoke. Lot of people smoke. Okay. These people, when they smoke, they will try to engage in defense mechanism, even though they know that the smoking is injurious to their health. They will try defense mechanism by rationalizing, saying that எப்படினாலும் சாக தான் போகிறோம், whatever happens we are going to die, we are going to die a little earlier, what, like that they will engage. Or they will engage in other kind of defense mechanism called I am taking cigarette because I am too much of stress, I am doing a lot of work, I am too much of stress, so that is only I am taking cigarette. Okay. These kind of rationalization, these are all defense mechanism. See, these defense mechanism helps us to not feel guilty of taking cigarette. Otherwise it will affect us, because cigarette taking is, your knowledge, your cognitive level is, in your cognitive attitude, it is injurious to health, it will lead to cancer. But your behavior is, you are taking cigarette. So there is an inconsistency. To avoid this guilt formation, we protect ourselves. Ourself is protected by rationalizing, even ego defense mechanism. This kind of attitude is formed, okay, in order to protect ourselves. Okay. There are hundreds of these kind of ego defense mechanism we engage in every day. Okay. ஒரு படத்தில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா கவுண்டமணி என்ன பண்ணுவார்னா, கார்த்திகோட சண்டை போட போவார். சிலம்பத்தை எடுத்து கொடுத்து ஆடுறா அப்படிம்பார். கார்த்தி சிலம்பத்தை பார்த்து, கார்த்திக் நல்லா சிலம்பம் ஆட தெரிஞ்சோடனே அவன் டக்கு 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 வேகமாக சுற்றுவானா. சுற்றுற உடனே கவுண்டமணி திரும்பி போயிடுவார். திரும்பி போன உடனே அந்த ஒருத்தன் கேட்பான், என்னென்ன திரும்பி போகிறீங்க அப்படின்னு. வித்தை சரியாக தெரியாமல் கற்றுருக்காண்டா அப்படிம்பாரு. இது என்னென்னா, அவர் வந்து அவரோட செல்ஃப் எஸ்டீமை தேர்த்திக்கிறாரு. என்ன, அவன் சரியாக கற்றுக்கலன்ட்டு, அவன் சரியாக தான் கற்றுருக்கான், நம்மளை விட அதிகமாக தெரிஞ்சிருக்காங்கிறதுக்காக ப்ரொடெக்ட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு. ஓகே, ஜென்ரலாக பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இந்த யூபிஎஸ்சி எக்ஸாம் எழுத போகிற பசங்கள்லாம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அந்த வருஷம் யூபிஎஸ்சியில் சரியாக எழுதலைன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன், என்ன தெரியுமா சொல்கிறாங்க, என்ன சார் கேள்வி கேட்டாங்க, குழப்பமாக கேள்வி கேட்டிருக்காங்க, எங்கெங்கே இருந்து கேள்வி கேட்டிருக்காங்க, அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு 10 பேர் கூடி பேசுவாங்க, எல்லாருமே அதை ஒத்துக்குவாங்க. ஏன்னா அவங்கெல்லாம் சரியாக எழுதலை, அவனுங்களோட ஈகோவை ப்ரொடெக்ட் பண்ணிக்கிறானுங்க. நம்ம சரியாக எழுதலைங்கிறத அவனுங்க அந்த மாதிரி ஃபீல் பண்ணக்கூடாதுங்கிறத இந்த மாதிரி ஆக்ஷன்ஸ். இந்த மாதிரி நம்ம டெய்லி ஹண்ட்ரட்ஸ் ஆஃப் திங்ஸில் ஈடுபடுவோம். இந்த ஈகோ டிஃபென்ஸ் மெக்கானிசம் ஒரு விதத்தில் இட் வில் ப்ரொடெக்ட் அஸ் ஃப்ரம் வாட் யூ சே, ஃப்ரம் ஃபீலிங் கில்ட்டி அண்ட் டு ஜஸ்டிஃபை அவர் ஆக்ஷன்ஸ். பட் இன்னொரு at the other end it will also be a recipe for compromising your actions. You will sooner or later you will continue to do those behaviors which may be not good for you, for your growth. See, இப்போ when a person who is appearing a civil service examination, if he is not doing well, you should accept that he have not performed well. Instead, he goes for the defense mechanism, saying denial, saying that the questions are very tough, they asked us somewhere like that. He have not prepared well and he have not written the examination well. That is the real explanation. But instead he is okay with it by saying that this year the questions are tougher. Okay, so this attitude, what it will do is it will justify your actions of not studying enough, and you will be the same. Okay, this is the problem with certain attitudes. Okay, when you engage in denial type of attitude, no, this is the problem. You won't accept your fault. Okay, similarly, people who are by engaging in credit activities, taking credits, see, கடன் வாங்குறது, taking credits are all considered as a wrong thing. Okay, it will affect us. But when people engage in those kind of activities, no, they will say, ஆமாம் இந்தியாவே கடன் வாங்குது, இவன் கடன் வாங்குறதுக்காக இந்தியாவே இழுப்பான், இந்தியாவே கடன் வாங்குது, எல்லாம் கடன் வாங்கி தான் ஓட்டணும் அப்படின்ட்டு. Okay, again another kind of rationalization. All these kind of rationalization will help us to protect our self. That is the ego defense mechanism function. But the problem here is it also will act as a method to remain the same and not accepting your faults. Okay, and this is very important. You have to be very careful not to engage in too much of this kind of defense mechanism. Of course, this kind of defense mechanism helps us sometimes not to feel too much of guilty and not to feel and also have to justify our actions, some of our actions. It may be for temporarily we may engage in that, because until we do that we may feel too much of guilty. That is also not good for our health. But holding this for a long period of time and remaining the same is also not good. Okay, so this function is very, very important. Okay, defense mechanism, and you have to work on it. If you have this kind of attitude, no, you have to change. Okay, people who are facing troubles, no, they will say that everybody is facing trouble, everybody is doing, people who are acting rashly, people who are using bad words, they will say, in these days all are using bad words, what is wrong in that? Okay, this kind of rationalization defense mechanism you should not engage for always. For some time you may engage to escape your guilt consciousness and to justify your action, but it should not be always that. Okay, with this I end this lesson. I wanted to give both formation of attitude and function, but I have only completed functions of attitude. But this is good. We will see the formation of attitude in my next lesson. Okay, with this I end this lesson. We learnt very important thing, the functions of attitude. Okay, please watch my next lesson on formation of attitudes.